Welcome. And yeah, I'm a little conflicted about Kandarin. Let's talk about it. Kandarin is an absolutely huge landmass, so of course you're gonna pick up a lot of areas, a lot of shops to choose from. Starting in Catherby, you have got a farming shop, a fishing shop. There's actually multiple of both of those. I just figure that the Catherby ones are probably the easiest to get to of the bunch, but you can find a few other ones just kind of littered around. In East Ardoin, you get the Gem Trader. Sells up to cut rubies. Not quite as good as uncuts, but you can definitely do some interesting things with the gem shop, even though they're cut gems. Next to Ardoin, you've got the Legends Guild, which has the Legends Cape and also the Shield left half, which considering you're gonna auto-complete the quest anyway, the Cape is probably a pretty decent early pickup. Then you've got the Ranging Guild. You've got an arrow shop, which is both good for just buying things like ruin arrows, but also he sells arrowheads, so that can be kind of a good way to get some fletching XP actually. Plus there is a hide tanner in the Ranging Guild. Little awkward to use them because you have to go through like the chat dialogue rather than opening up a shop interface unless they add that this year. Has been a little bit of discussion about adding that, but regardless, at least you'll have access to a hide tanner, which not every area has, so take it where you can. Kind of jumping around the areas a little bit, you've got the Gnome Stronghold. Now there are a lot of shops in the Stronghold. There's things like the food shops, so you can get the whatever, like gnome food, gnome whatever they're called, cookies? I don't know. But I think you've got better food shops just in the starter area, because you can pick up things like Karambwans from the Karamja food shop. So I don't know that you'll get a lot of use out of that. There are these two ingredient shops typically used for gnome cooking, but those same cooking supplies can be used for non-gnome cooking. So like you might get a little bit of use out of those if you end up wanting to make a bunch of like pies or something like that early on. Down on the Yanil side, you've got a hunter shop, and they've talked about the hunter's crossbow actually being available to everybody. That's why I don't have that shop on here, because if you're able to pick it up from just like the Varrock ranging store, then it doesn't really add any benefit to Kandarin. But you do still have the normal hunter shop, and there are going to be a lot of hunter options in this area, so you're probably going to need to pick up a couple extra tools from there. Plus you've got the Mages Guild within Yanil, where you're able to pick up mystic robes, as well as there is a ruin shop, offers all of the high level ruins. Probably the best ruin shop in the game, up for debate with a couple others, but I'm gonna say it. I think that one's the best in the game. Now for the skilling options, you're gonna have maple trees in places like Sears Village. Plus, you do have access to a lot of magic trees in the area. You're picking up 2 rooftop courses, so you've got the Sears rooftop course as well as the Ardoin rooftop course. Both of those are very good, and obviously with the Ardoin course being the top level rooftop agility course, this is one where I'd say, actually, it's not the worst region to pick for agility. As much as I've talked about Brimhaven getting a buff, having the best rooftop course in the game, it does mean something. Now, because this is such a large area, you are going to pick up a number of farming patches. So not only are you getting a couple extra tree patches, you are getting 2 full allotment patches, one that's in Catherby, one that is north of Ardoin. So you're able to do, herbs, flowers, the allotments, watermelons, whatever. This is where I would start saying you can actually really train your farming with this region. On the hunter side of things, you've got the Feldip hunter area, and you're getting the whatever jungle tigers, Larupas, what are they? You got some Kevits, you got some red Chinchampas, second best Chinchampa in the game. Plus there's red salamanders up near the Orania altar. So you are picking up quite a few different hunter options, and I think especially with the red Chinchampas, that is a big benefit of Kandarin, because the only other Chinchampa you can pick up would be black chins in the wilderness, and not everybody's going to want to go to the wilderness. Now, fishing is kind of a big one for this area. Not only do you have the Fishing Guild, which has AFK spots for things like sharks, has minnows in there as well. You've got Catherby Fishing before then, which has some spots that you can AFK on pretty close to a bank if you end up needing that. You've also got the fishing trawler in this area, so you're able to get the angler outfit, as well as manta rays, sea turtles, all of that kind of stuff from the fishing trawler. Plus, on top of that, you get barbarian fishing through the barbarian training. So like you get so many more options for cooking and fishing, and especially with things like barbarian training, giving you another way to train agility and strength while also getting your fishing up. All of these things are really good options for you. On the rune crafting side, you've got the Arania altar. You can use that. Just make all kinds of runes for yourself. Thieving, you've got Ardoin Knights, Ardy Knights. You know, they're pretty decent GP. If you don't like some of the activities in the starter area, or maybe pickpocketing ends up being especially good, then these are a very solid way to get XP, get up to 99, make a decent amount of cash. And while they've maybe fallen off a little bit with things like the Barlamore thieving, it is still a very solid option for thieving XP. And then of course you're picking up a Slayer Master in the Gnome Stronghold next to the Stronghold Slayer Cave, because when you pick the area, it's gonna auto complete the Monkey Madness 2 quest. You're not gonna see Neve, sorry. Spoiler, it's Steve. That's it. Neve's gone. All right. Rip Neve. I know, but like, what can you do? So you get him as a Slayer Master. Now, I think where Kandarin really ends up shining is this right here, the mobs and the activities. Boy, if you want mobs and activities, this is the place. There is so much stuff that you can do. I already talked about the barbarian training. So, you know, obviously you get that with like barbarian fishing, barbarian fire making. The fire making, not so useful. Fishing, very good. But then you're also getting access to barbarian weapons, which are essentially hostas, being able to make a hosta. And in most things that you're doing in the game, hosta's way better because it makes your spear one-handed. So you're able to wield a shield or like a defender or anything like that. So this one I think is a pretty big deal for the area. You're gonna have barbarian assault in here as well. And while most of the armor probably won't be that useful to you, you can pick up a fighter torso, give you a little bit of a strength bonus. Plus some of the other armor is like ruin equivalent. As someone who spent a lot of time wearing barbarian assault armor on the transit only series, it is good. You'll probably be doing other things in League, so likely only pick up the one unless there's a task to pick up other ones. You've got the Myths Guild, which unfortunately is locked behind Fremnik, so I just wanted to add this as a call out here. While it is in Kandarin, you can't use it. Kind of sucks. I really think that Kandarin should get access to Wrath Ruins, just because who wants to pick Fremnik just for the sake of using the top level surge spells, the top level like standard spellbook spells? Seems a little silly to me, but is what it is. Feels bad, man. Feels real bad. You can always go and hunt chompies. Easy pet. Everybody loves hunting chompies. 4,000 chompy task. Anybody last league? Remember that one? Oh goodness. Don't worry. Those tasks are gone. We'll talk about it a little bit later, but you don't have to sweat those so much. You are getting access to the Legends Guild, so you're able to recharge some Dragonstone jewelry, and depending on the choices that we get in terms of like teleportation options, you may not actually have access to Dragonstone jewelry teleports without having the Legends Guild. Last year you were picking between things like the teleport mushroom, which worked towards like fairy rings, leprechauns, things like that, or standard jewelry, which would have included Dragonstone jewelry. So I do think if you're planning to go Kandarin, while I wouldn't necessarily pick this region just for the Dragonstone jewelry teleports, but if it's in your plan already, keep that in mind whenever they offer you some choices with the teleport options, because if you have this, it might be more fun to take the thing that doesn't relate to jewelry, because you'll already be able to charge a lot of jewelry. Continuing to skirt along the outside here, we've got Castle Wars. Kind of fun to, you know, get to play around with like superpowers in Castle Wars. For the most part though, there's not a whole lot going on with this. There have been tasks associated to some of the rewards here. Something that can be helpful for you. You only need to get enough tickets to buy like one item, because you're able to sell it back to the shop and get your tickets back. So keep that in mind. If you don't like Castle Wars, but you want to get the points, if they end up doing tasks for that, then you'll have to get like, you know, 100 tickets or something like that, and then you should be able to buy out essentially the whole shop. Moving along here, we've got the Gnome Restaurant. Again, probably not anything super useful here, but who doesn't love Fashionscape, right? Get the little gnome scarf going on. There was a task for that last year, actually, so may get some points out of doing this. I guess you'd call it a mini game? Distraction? I don't know. You've got the Sinister Chest in the Yanil Agility Dungeon. This one just gives a set amount of herbs. Probably not the best thing to like go out of your way and farm, but Magpie Implings do have a chance of dropping the keys. So if you're going through and you're just hunting Implings during leagues, you might pick up some of these keys, and it would be nice to be able to use them and then get some herbs out of it. Now onto the mobs and stuff in this region. I've got Ogre Shamans here. I think is just a good like early option if Kandarin's your first pick and you want something that you can kill for money. These tend to be a good option. They have a couple of ruin drops power-ups. They're not particularly tough to kill, especially when you consider the League's power-ups and things like that. So down in the Corsair Cove, good option for you. You've got a ton of Slayer-related creatures that you're going to be dealing with. So you've got like the Smoke Devils here that drop the Occult Necklace, and while the Occult Necklace was nerfed a little bit, it is still really good magic percentage. You've got the Warped Terror Birds with the Cursed Scepter, First Charge Scepter. It's going to be a little bit easier to get from something like a Trident, so that's going to be a good starting mage weapon as you're kind of like going through. You've got all of the various like general Slayer creatures that don't necessarily have any sort of fancy drop, but they do have chances at superiors, which is helpful. Hopefully letting you pick up an Imbued Heart along the way. And then of course you've got the Kraken, which lets you get the Tentacle as well as the Trident. So all of those things tied straight into Slayer. You've also got Mithril Dragons. They drop the Dragon full helm. More of a Fashionscape kind of thing. But you know, if you're there, if you want it, probably a task associated to wearing that thing. 200 points, 400 points, something like that. You're gonna get the Demonic Gorillas, which drop Zenites as well as the Ballista. And actually with the combat rework, there may be some good uses for the Ballista. I know right now, Araxor, its little like minions and things, it is considered one of the best ways, if not the best way of killing those minions. So there may be some other areas where you can get some use out of this. But of course, you know, the Zenite jewelry is gonna be best in slot or close to for a lot of the stuff. And then the last thing I wanna call out here is the Monkey Madness 2 tunnels. While you don't have access to Ancients in Kandarin, if you end up picking the desert, then you're able to do that. Bursting, barraging in here, really, really good magic, defense, HP, XP. And of course, you have access to red chins in Kandarin, so kind of the same deal. Really good range or defense or HP, XP. Oh man, there is so much stuff to do. All right, let's move on to the bosses. No subscribe button pop up? All right, algorithm doesn't have this one, although feel free to subscribe if you want. The bosses, this is where this area really starts to feel lacking. This is what starts to make me question Kandarin as a choice, because man, like you get the thermonuclear smoke devil boss, whatever, you get the Kraken boss, but they're just empowered versions of the Slayer creatures. The thermonuclear smoke devil, it at least gives you the smoke staff, so like it has something, but the Kraken boss, it doesn't give you anything additional really, besides like, you know, a pet in a jar. So like this is where you're really missing out on mainly like a core gear setup. Plus, in terms of like killing bosses, there's not going to be a lot to do. So if you're looking for PVM, this really isn't the area for you. I mean, there's like, this becomes very much a support region in the same way that some of the other regions I've talked about, like Fremnik or Wilderness, become support regions. Though for Kandarin, it's a little bit different, right? Now, if I had to pick, I mean, really either of these could be empowered. I could see it go either way, really, just because there's nothing like super substantial in their drops. I'm placing my bets on the Kraken boss. It's a 50-50 shot. And I don't even think it matters which one they go with, because they're both like magic centered anyway for the most part. So like, we'll have to see. I'll guess Kraken. We'll see. Will I be right? I don't know. Now for the gear. And again, this is where I'm really questioning Kandarin as a choice. Of course, you get Zenite jewelry, and Zenite jewelry is the best besides the new Rancor amulet that came out with Araxor. Plus, you're able to get Piety for melee. Now, it really depends. I would hate to be a melee person and have to pick this region because there's just so little in the way of gear that you're getting out of this. So any PVM melee players, it is tough. It is a sad choice, I think, to lock Piety behind this. Now, last year, they ended up giving us another prayer book that we could use if you picked that particular relic, and I know a lot of people, myself included, that was the choice that you went with, because if you're not going magic, Kandarin sucks. You know, like the prayer is good. The prayer is like one click to get yourself strength, attack, defense bonus. It is higher than the respective individual prayers as well. So like it's an integral DPS boost, don't get me wrong. But when you look at like the rest of this gear, I mean, what? You're going to be rocking a dragon full helm and a dragon square shield? Like, come on. You know? You do get the Ardoin cloak 4 eventually. I mean, it's best in slot stab, but like the use cases on that are so limited. Why, you're going to go to the corporeal beast or something. You know what I mean? It's just not good. The only like saving grace besides the prayer is, you know, all this stuff here on the right. You get the Abyssal Tentacle Whip, which it is a good weapon. It's you know, you're probably not going to use this over something like any of the raids weapons if you have a raids area. And even like this isn't that big of an upgrade to a whip. You know, like if you are picking this region for the Abyssal Tentacle Whip, I think you're gonna feel pretty bad. The Torture is good. You don't necessarily have to upgrade it to get that benefit. The Ring of Suffering is also a good defensive ring, so it's a good slot to pick up. Sorry, I feel like I'm dumping on Kandarin now. Okay, the stuff that it combines into, if you pick up the Fremnik region, you're able to make the Dragon Plate Body, Dragon Kite Shield. This is a good region for like if you want to do some bold dragon fashionscape, you know what I mean? Bold dragon fashionscape. That's why you pick Kandarin. Oh my god, dude, feels so bad. And of course, if you want the Myths Guild with the Myth Cape, Best in Slot Crush Cape, you got to pick up Fremnik. Don't do it. Don't use these two things to pick Fremnik, please. Like, it's not worth it, man. It is not worth it. Oh, you go to Mauritania, you can upgrade the Torture Amulet. Oh my god, dude. I need to like get off of melee because this is depressing me, dude. Kandarin is one of the regions that will auto start Recipe for Disaster. So you get that plus saving the Monkey King. So you'll be able to access the chest. Won't be good by itself, but again, if you pick up a couple of regions that interplay with the Recipe for Disaster, then you might start to have some good gloves to consider. Oh man, okay, off of the melee page. Doesn't this feel better? Golly, dude. Oh, the range gear. I mean, you get a Tanner, I guess, so you can pick up Black D'hide a little easier, but like, why aren't you just gonna go do clues? Go do clues and get God D'hide. It's better anyway. Oh, lordy. You get the range cape and the ranging guild. It at least saves you some ammo, so like it's not the worst. You get Best in Slot range necklace. I mean, that's definitely something. You still get the ring slot, still good defensive ring slot, as well as the ballista. Ballista might be a fun weapon, all right. That's fair. Could be fun. You get an attack speed up something, you know, or like a special boost from the relics. It does have a special attack that hits pretty high. Now, really where this area is focused, and it's still like, it's not that good. It's not that good. By itself, okay, I get it. The jewelry gives like good magic percent bonus, even with the occult necklace nerf. The two of these together are what, like 10%? You get charge staffs, all right. Like there's some good stuff here for mage. It just, oh man, I don't know, dude. Kandarin feels bad to me. Can we just please give them like Wrath Ruins at least? Give Kandarin something more. Like you need Fremnik if you're gonna use the Myths Guild, so screw this. You can't even use the Smoke Staff well, because the Smoke Staff's whole benefit is giving additional magic damage to standard spells, but you can only use wave spells. Come on, dude. Come on, Kandarin, you're struggling here. You pick up the magic cape. You pick up the charge staffs. I don't know, dude. This is not the gear for me. All right, this area. God, screw the gear. You're picking it solely because you want to fill out the magic jewelry or you want the melee prayer. Like I swear that's it. Like, and of those two reasons, the only one that's like somewhat justifiable is the magic percent. All right, okay. I've been dumping on Kandarin for a while. I gotta stop, dude. I gotta stop. Tasks. We got tasks, all right. Oh, God. Poor Kandarin, dude. Last year, 21 easy, 35 medium, 24 hard, 20 elite, 4 master. Because there is no, like, crazy endgame stuff that you're really having to worry about, it is a pretty good early pickup of a region. On the tougher side of the tasks, you've got all the rare equipment tasks because there's, like, almost nothing in this area, so of course, you've got to, like, equip the only stuff you can pick up. You got the Enhanced Trident as one of them, Zenite Jewelry, all of them, you know, Tentacle Whip, ballistas, both the light and the heavy. You're gonna have things like KC's at the demonic gorillas. There was actually multiple tasks. You had like 300, 500. The Kraken boss, the thermonuclear smoke boss, you know, like 300 of those. Gonna have things like hunting red chins, get 150 of those, maybe some Castle Wars rewards. And then one saving grace of this area, and anyone who has picked this before will know, you don't have to do monkey laps for the monkey backpacks. They've confirmed that the more grindy side of those tasks are not gonna be in this league. So no more like 2,000 monkey laps for the top tier backpack or whatever. Oh my god, dude, that was terrible. Can you tell I picked Kandarin before, dude? That was awful. And of course, if you don't like hunting 4,000 chompies, you're not gonna have to. They've said there's not gonna be a task for 4,000 chompies. Now, hopefully that doesn't mean that they troll us and they make it like 1,995 monkey laps and 3,995 chompies. That would wreck me. If Kandarin wasn't an F tier, that would put Kandarin in F tier for me, man. I don't know. But I think what that means is you'll probably see like the lower end of those show up as tasks, but they won't be anything major. You won't see them as like the 200 or the 400 point tasks that you get later into the game. Gosh dang, dude, this is, oh my god, I feel so bad. I feel so bad for people who like Kandarin. I'm sorry, man. I don't think it's good. Besides the mage pick, and I absolutely hate that it is like a forced mage pick because you get 10% magic damage bonus from just those 2 pieces, and like there's, god, okay, whatever. I'm gonna stop. You tell me your opinions in the comments. All right, we'll figure it out. Subscribe if you want to see more Leagues content. Got my Discord link down below in the description, and I am gonna be streaming the start of the League, November 27th. I'm gonna start at 9 o'clock in the morning Central Time. We're just gonna be talking League strategy, stuff like that, and then once the game mode starts, we'll be switching over and just kind of diving into the League. So with that, thanks for watching. Sorry, Kandarin lovers. I'll catch you in the next video.